action. We are back in action. We are back in action. Let me pull up the chat here. Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Voice Crypto Show. Sorry about that technical difficulty. Oh my gosh. Ridiculousness there, like the show. We're like the show there, right, baby? Yes, yes. Let's pull this up here. Let's pull it on up. Yes, reviews. What's going on, man? I appreciate you diving on into the chat. Thank you guys for helping me out there with that slight technical difficulty. We got the mic pumping. We are ready to go. Wow, what a colossal red day in the market. We already got the monster crack. That helped with the stress and the mic issue. I was like, oh my gosh. We'll let everybody go in here. What mic is this, man? I got this one off of Amazon. It was a mic. It was a mic webcam combo. It was fine. It was just the headphone jack was loose. And then whenever the headphone jack comes loose, it resets it in OBS to default. This is my streaming platforms, my streaming service, however I stream the YouTube, right? And then it switches to default, which was the webcam one, but the webcam one's off. So that's what I'm looking at, man. Yeah, thank you. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Boys Crypto Show. We have a colossal red day in the market. If you follow me over on X, we did get out of our long-term swing trades with the exception of Ethereum. And this weekend, I'm going to be staying away from leverage. We're going to run the show a little differently today. We're not even going to pull up any kind of leverage trades or anything like that. We're going to do a top-down analysis on the market to see what we're looking at here on the macro, baby. We're going to start every single day like we do every day on Bitcoin, baby. Bitcoin, we were bullish yesterday. What happened? Man, I'm hot. Woo! Woo! Oh my gosh. Hey, baby, what's up?
Sounds quite right. Try unplugging it and plugging it back in.
Dang, okay. Thanks, dude.
Your hair's looking great today.
What is happening right now?
Okay, I'm gonna let you troubleshoot and I'll comment how it sounds. Okay.
Okay, thanks, babe.
Love you.
Love you. All right. Okay, let's try this now. For the third time over. Goodness, microphone messing with me today, baby. Microphone messing with me today. Here we go. We're plugged in, ready to go. Let's pull up OBS. Make sure we're ready to go. We are in OBS. It looks good. It looks good to me. How's it sound? How's everything sound? All the dumping even making his mic sick. Yeah, man, I hear you. Welcome, everybody. Is the mic sounding better? All right, we had to unplug, replug back in, all that kind of stuff. Hey, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here on the Boys Crypto Show. Oh my gosh, the streaming platform. What is going on with it today? Sound quality is not great. What is happening here? One second, everybody.
Is that it? That has to be it. Is that better? Sounds like you're not in the right hole. Dude, I totally understand you, man. Whenever you go in the wrong hole, man, you start making some weird sounds. This should sound a little better. Does it sound better? Yeah, there we go, baby. Whoa, we're good to go. We are good to go. We are good to go, man. After, 10 minutes of troubleshooting? I appreciate you guys sticking here and sticking with me while we got that figured out. What a red day in the crypto market today. Blood everywhere in the streets. If you follow me on X, we did get out of our swing long positions with the exception of Ethereum. And I'll go into why we're still in that position, or I'm still in that position right now. But massive fear in the market right now as we keep getting tariff after tariff after tariff after tariff. and the market bleeds. $1 trillion was removed from the United States stock market today in sales. A massive day down for the NQ, and we haven't seen action like this. And we talked about this when we come up to the daily 200. If we were to reject from there, as Paul Tudor Jones says, if you reject from the daily 200, nothing good happens after you reject from the daily 200. You're under the daily 200, bad. Daily 200 reject. Look at the last two times we rejected. Daily 200 rejected. We had a 1 month bear market here, and then we came up, tested the 200. We rejected again, and that was the entire bear market of 2022. This was a whole almost year of time here, from December of 21 all the way to December of 22. This was a year of absolute carnage for the stock market. And here we are now mimicking the same kind of price action here on the daily. A lot of stocks have been absolutely beaten down, and Bitcoin is following suit. Bitcoin did look stronger than the stock market. It was closing candles above the 200 MA. I was bullish, everybody. I was bullish, man. I was like bull above the 200 MA. We were claiming that. It was looking very good. We didn't need to get above that 618, 786. I don't think we did. We didn't even come. Yeah, we got it to the 618 and we rejected. So that's not looking good. We're going to do the show a little differently today. We're going to dive into Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, the NQ, and gold. It will be a little bit of a shorter stream tonight as we are heading into the weekend with this low volatility, baby. This low volatility. I'm not going to be giving any trade setups or trade ideas today. I need a clear head going on into Monday. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a vacation from the charts until we get into Sunday, baby. Into Sunday, where I'm going to be streaming with PMG Crypto on Crypto Profit Brothers. I'm very excited to do that with him and excited to bring that to you guys. So here we are with Bitcoin closing the daily underneath the 200 MA. That is bearish, everyone. This candle not starting out the greatest. Even NQ in the after hours session, as we go over here into the after hours, you can see whenever the market is in session, it is this blue zone right here, this blue zone or this highlighted zone right here. And after market, we continue to, or whenever you're, this is outside of market hours. So this black area right here, if you can see it, we zoom on in, this black area is market hours, right? From 9 o'clock till 3 for the U.S. stock market, or 4 o'clock, right? And then after that, you get aftermarket hours whenever it goes into this shaded region. So this is what we're looking at here for BTC. This is an absolute carnage here for, my time zones are messed up. But yeah, I'll fix that here on TradingView. Man, it's been crazy since I got this new setup. But yeah, we are dumping, baby. We are dumping. It seems like every asset dumping, with the exception of gold, which made another all-time high today, pushing on that $3,100 mark, screaming to the world that this is screaming to the world, everybody. Screaming to the world that this is, I got the chat up and everything. We're ready to go now. Screaming to the world, gold screaming that this is an uncertain time in the market. The asset where people run to when everyone's confused and doesn't know what's going to happen in the immediate future, love to go to gold and gold certs in order to make sure that their wealth remains protected. And I don't blame anybody here. We keep hearing tariff after tariff after tariff after news announcement after disaster. And it is a nightmare in the markets right now. And you have this new guy running for Canadian Prime Minister, and he seems like he wants to put the big boy pants on here. He wants to put the big boy pants and show everybody that Canada is strong. I'm strong. I'm a big strong man kind of deal. He gives off a very weird, I don't want to say the word toxic masculinity. I don't want to say that. I want to say that he's here to prove himself. He's here to prove that he's a bigger man than Donald Trump kind of guy. You guys know what I'm talking about, those kind of people. And that could wreak real havoc on the market. I see gold potentially even being able to get up to this $3,500 mark, $3,500 mark within the next month. That would be absolute carnage in the market. If gold does make a move like that, that would be carnage. Gold does not make moves like that, everybody. 3 to 5% moves in the course of a couple days, in the course of a month. It does not happen. It does not happen normally. Look at gold from its inception, a massive moonshot at an all-time high, and continues to run ever since we've debased from that currency. Back over to Bitcoin, baby. Back over to Bitcoin. We'll get into gold in a little bit. Bitcoin closing the daily underneath the 200 MA. What does Bitcoin need in order to get out of this craziness this weekend, baby? The craziness this weekend. Well, we need to start playing 200 MA dominoes, and we did earlier. We started playing the game. We started playing the game until just recently. We got above the 5. We got above the 1. We got above the 3. We got above the 5. I think we rejected at the 7. No, we didn't. We got above the 5, and then we fell below the 5. You're going to come and test the 3. You broke the 3. Now you're going to test you already tested the 1, and now you're below, Bitcoin below every single 200 MA on every single time frame above the 1 minute. Look at that. We are below every major 200 moving average that there is. That screams bearishness to me, everybody. That screams bearishness. Now, with that being said, I will tell you this. This market has been heavily influenced by Donald Trump and the tweets he's been making out on True Social. Oh yeah, the tariffs are gonna be lenient. No, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they're not. Oh, we're gonna impose this random auto tariff. It's been very, very weird because we've never had someone who's had this much influence over the market before, and a single True Social account is causing these wicks to go absolutely crazy, and the stock market being in an absolute state of pandemonium. And I'm not blaming this on Trump. I'm not blaming it on Trump. Don't think that. But all I'm saying is that in prior presidents, we haven't had an active social media account as Trump has right here, the one that affects the market to this degree. It has been absolutely crazy. So what am I looking for here? Well, this does not look good, everybody. It does not look good. We rejected from the 618. So right now you're looking for this cup and handle. This cup and handle needs to hold here. This cup and handle, this cup handle needs to hold here for BTC in order to get this weekend, moving in the right direction. Woo! In the direction we want it to anyway. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a squeeze up. I really don't. Yeah, there's still some room down here, down to go to the $80,000 level. I really don't want to see that. This is carnage. This is carnage in the market. Nobody expected this. I'm telling you guys, everybody and their mom was bullish yesterday. I was bullish yesterday. I'm going to be the first to tell you guys, I was bullish. I was opening up long positions. You know, I'm in the red on the Ethereum trade, the swing long, which gets stopped out below this wick right here. But I'm still going off of this daily. We still have very strong daily bullish divergence here on Ethereum. I know I'm kind of bouncing around everywhere, everybody, but this market has been it has been an absolute, I'm almost at a loss for words. It has been carnage for everyone. It has been carnage for everyone. And I think the state of the economy right now has everybody in a lot of fear and uncertainty. And that's what markets hate more than anything, baby. More than anything. All right, everybody, let's dive on into this a special shout out to every single one of you guys here, especially the ones who jumped back in after I had those technical difficulties earlier. Shout out to you, Reviews, Wanda, April. Thanks for being here. Sin Nasty Kid, what's going on? What's going on? Glad you guys are here. We got April. Yeah. Hey, all of you guys. Wanda, thank you for being here and spending your Friday night here with me, everybody. Everybody out there getting turned at the club. I think that's what the kids say, right? The kids, that what the kids say, Sin Nasty Kid? Getting turned at the club. And you're in here getting your market analysis in, trying to understand and get a good perspective going into the week ahead. There's going to be some chop this weekend. Why do I say that? Is there going to be some chop this weekend? Well, I can tell you. Let's pull up our calendar here. This is a key day here in the market. The last day for options to expire of the month. The monthly options contracts expire on every asset, including the NQ, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. All assets, all options contracts expired when? Yes. Today, everyone. So Monday, those options traders are going to be looking to get back into positions for their next monthly options contract. That is going to bring some massive volatility, likely coming up into the later session on Sunday night. So I'm excited to be here on Sunday night. I'm not really interested in price action here over the weekend. Of course, I want to see us hold these lows. I want to see us hold these lows, specifically on Ethereum, because we're in a swing long position. But Bitcoin, Ethereum's not going to hold up if Bitcoin doesn't. And this scenario here, everybody, this scenario of Bitcoin coming back down to the 618786 golden pocket zone from the swing low of the last range to the swing high of the previous range does seem ever more likely down here at $72,000 to $60,000. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, everybody. But if we do, and I'm speculating here, if we do go into a multi-year bear market, and I have to have that option on the table. Why? Because the charts are screaming that it's likely. This is screaming that we are likely to go into a at least year-long bear market, as we did back here in 2022. When you lose these key levels, every time you lose the 200 MA, look at this, you lose the 200, you tested it, dump it to the downside. That was a massive bear market back here in 2019. It lasted a couple months. That's crazy, but we V-shaped recovery. This was COVID, wasn't it? Yeah, this was COVID. You got below the daily 200 MA. Did you get that retest? You did, couldn't hold above, and you went on a dumpage to the downside. We had a V-shape. Not often do you get recoveries. You did get a recovery here above the 200 MA. Why am I looking at the NASDAQ? Because I have to look at the NASDAQ because Bitcoin has been paired to the NASDAQ and the S&P for a very long time. And now, out to the weekly, we lose the daily, we're likely to come and test the weekly, or the 3-day at least. The 3-day for the NASDAQ sitting down here at about 16,887. If the 3-day gets tested, then we're likely to test the weekly. And because of the massive run-up that we've been on the NQ due to massive amounts of money printing, and the Fed not looking to pudge, man, it is looking absolutely crazy, baby. It is looking absolutely crazy here in the markets. This could be the start of something greater for the NASDAQ to the downside and the S&P and Bitcoin, baby. Bitcoin's been paired to those assets. Is this going to be the time when Bitcoin really does rear its head as the last time we had a major stock market crash in 2008? That's why Bitcoin was created. Based off of the government not being able to bail out financial institutions from constant money printing. And here we are sitting at $84,000 struggling with the NASDAQ and the S&P. So that's what I'm looking at here for Bitcoin. We're getting closes below the daily 200. In order to get out of this, we got to start playing 200 MA dominoes. It'll start with the 1. It'll start with this red line here. It did earlier. We got above the 1 and we got rejected at the 5. It will get above the 1, the 3 saving us right now, the 200 on the 3 saving us, and I wouldn't put all your eggs in that basket right now. This is a weak 200 MA comparatively to the bigger time frames. I want to see us get above the 15-minute 200 MA. A moving average that we have not been above since above $87,000. That's what we're looking at going into the weekend. We got to start playing 200 MA dominoes, and we need to start playing it fast. We need to start playing 200 MA dominoes fast. That's what I'm looking at. Let's dive on into what you guys want to talk about here this weekend, baby. Drop your alts in the chat. Drop your questions. Drop your coins. Drop anything you guys want to talk about. We're going to dive on in. JJ, what's going on? Sid Nasty Kid starting us off with MetaDrip, baby. MetaDrip for Sid Nasty Kid. Let's dive on into it. We're going to leave Bitcoin, Ethereum. We're going to get rid of the NQ because we don't normally look at the NQ, but we had to look at it today. Everybody understands why. We had to look at the NQ today, the NASDAQ composite, and the S&P mimicking a very similar move. It's almost a copy and paste on the charts. All right, let's dive on into MetaDrip, baby. MetaDrip. Oh, the volume's good. The volume, you cranking your speaker? Yeah, reviews, get it pumping up, baby. Get it pumping up. MetaDrip for Sin Nasty Kid. Thanks, man. Hey, thank you for being here. MetaDrip looking very good right here. We did draw this consolidation zone, and what did we say for MetaDrip? We had to start playing 200 MA dominoes. Did we start doing that? Yes. We broke above the 5. We broke above the 7. We broke above the 15, baby. We broke above the 15. We broke above the 30. Did we not? We broke above the 30. We broke above the 1 hour. We're breaking currently above the 2 hour 200 SMA. When you break the 2 hour, where are you likely to go? The 3 hour 200 SMA. So I've been looking for a full candle body close above the 2 hour 200 SMA for continuation to the upside. I don't want to see a gigantic candle here. If you see a gigantic candle, likely you're going to get rejected out of a wick on that 3 hour 200 SMA. Why? Because this 21 is going to be so far away on the larger time frames here, speaking about the 1 hour, the 2 hour, that you're going to need some kind of consolidation to catch up. Even if you got above here and you started flagging, that would look really, really good to me. MetaDrip looking good for the reversal, and we did talk about a shoulder, head, right shoulder play here on MetaDrip. You have that shoulder, you have the head, and you have that right shoulder forming. That looks very, very good for MetaDrip to the upside, baby. That doesn't look super pretty, but to the upside for MetaDrip. Cup, handle, boom, to the upside, starting to play 200 MA dominoes, baby, and that looks very, very good and holding up despite the dumpage in the crypto market right now. That is showing massive strength here for MetaDrip to the upside. Looks very, very good to me. me. Looks very, very good to me. You're old, dude, with teenagers. That's okay, dude. That's okay. I don't have kids yet. I'm 28, man. I'm 28. All right, look at Ethereum. Wanda wants to look at Ethereum. Wanda, I would love to look at Ethereum with you. All right, Ethereum. Man, I don't like how this candle is even shaping up right now. I cannot believe we're seeing sells like this on this asset. If we dive on into the 1 minute, let's go on into the 1 minute time frame. Has anyone seen candles like this on the 1 minute before? This is why Ethereum lost about 5% of 4% of its value in a singular 2 minute time period. That was a wild capitulation event. Yes, and then I was like, man, it's likely. I started adding the long in here. I was like, wow, that was likely it. A nice big wick. We get that nice round at bottom, and we'll be out of here. And then they did it again. They did it again for Ethereum. We got about that 1 minute 200 SMA fake out, baby, to the downside. Lost another 3% of its value. Currently struggling bad here for Ethereum. We did start playing 200 MA dominoes. We got above the 7. We were likely to go to the 15, and we just got rejected here. This is we're losing the 7. We're likely coming to the 5. We'll test the 5. Hopefully the 5 can round out and we can get this bounce here off the 5 minute 200 SMA. The only thing that's going to save Ethereum right now is a cup and handle, baby. A cup here, and a handle. You need the cup and handle to hold here for Ethereum, or it's likely this trade's going to be a absolute wash, and that's not what we want to see here for Ethereum. That's not what we want to see for Ethereum. The 618 sitting at 1880, and the 786 set at 1871 for a bounce for Ethereum. That can happen, but Bitcoin's got to hold up here. And right now, Bitcoin taking the down nukage trip, baby. The nukage trip may even be coming to a 786 here. Maybe looking for a little bit of a reversal here for BTC from the swing low to the swing high. Came exactly to the 786. Let's see if that holds right here for BTC. That's going to be your key level, your line in the sand. If you come and test these lows, I do not think that they will hold. I do not think that they will hold. You could get a miraculous double bottom out of that, but the cup and handle is what's going to save you right here. You did make a local higher high, a little bit of a local higher high right here, so the cup and handle is valid to the upside for BTC. That's what I would like to see in order to see BTC recover throughout the night. If we don't see that, we could see more dumpage. We could see more dumpage throughout the weekend, and this was a crazy sell-off, everybody. This was a crazy, just a couple days ago, a day ago, we were trading 5% higher. This was a massive move down for BTC, sparking a lot of fear amongst crypto enthusiasts, including myself. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am shaking in my custom baby seal leather boots, as Megamind would say. I am shaking in my custom baby seal leather boots, right? This is the majority of my portfolio, crypto, right, baby? Crypto, Bitcoin. So I don't want to see a multi-year bear market start. I don't want to see a multi-year bear market start. You know what that would do to this asset? What that could do to BTC is it could be devastating. Could be devastating. Your net worth could be shed in half, baby. That's not what I'm looking. That's not what I want to see. That's not what I want to see here for Bitcoin. And I get the long-term prospects of moving further to the upside, but the charts right now are saying, hey, we're trading a lot like the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq looks weak. Bitcoin closing below the daily 200 looks weak. We need this candle. We need this candle to come back up here and close above 85,802. That's $2,000 above us. And yes, it is the weekend, low liquidity, so it does have the ability the Bitcoin does have the ability to do that. But man, this has been a carnage market. It's been a carnage market. All right, diving on in. Wanda, Ethereum. So Ethereum, looking into this cup and handle, Bitcoin coming down here on the cup and handle for Bitcoin looks very, very, very similar. We do have that 786 retracement going on right now, getting a little bit of a reaction. It looks kind of weak though, I'm not going to lie to you, Wanda. That 618, 786, almost to the dollar reaction right here from swing low to swing high. That 786, a good area to get into a little bit of a scalp long. You got the reaction, but I don't know if this is going to hold, baby. I don't know if this is going to hold. Ethereum not down at that 786 yet, which does show that Ethereum is getting a little bit of strength compared to BTC right now. I'm saying at the lows here, Ethereum's looking a little better from bounce perspective. Even if Bitcoin nukes below that 786, the odds of Ethereum catching right here are relatively high. Because Ethereum would have not have invalidated that 786, baby, that 786. That's what I'm looking at for Ethereum, baby. For Ethereum, ETH BTC for JJ. Hey, that leads right into it, man. So Ethereum, Bitcoin made new lows, everybody. Look at this. Let's zoom on out on the weekly. This is the lowest it's ever been. I think, oh no, it's not the lowest it's ever been. It's almost there. You're testing key support down here. ETH BTC, let's zoom on in and see how Ethereum is comparing to Bitcoin. You're playing 200 MA dominoes. You got above the 5, you got above the 7. Did you get above the 15? No, you did not get above the 15. You're looking for the 21 to support here. But yeah, ETH BTC looks very, very similar to the chart, showing that Bitcoin dominance is likely running right now. Bitcoin dominance is likely running, and I wouldn't blame anybody for being in BTC right now, because this is the safest of the coins. As you can see over here on Crypto Bubbles, everything else is down 10%. Bitcoin's only down a few percent, but everything else double digit red, and now across the board on Crypto Bubbles, everything red. The week, the month, even though the week does have some green in here, does have some green. Barachain renders some of the hotter projects in the game, but even these projects are pulling back. The month looking worse. Look at Pi down 70%, 70% on the monthly. The yearly looking absolutely devastating, though we do have a couple outliers here. XRP, BGB looking good. The majority of the market is red, baby. The majority of the market is red, so that shows massive pain here. ETH BTC can make a turnaround. I'm saying that here. Look, you're at a blue skies breakout territory. You're getting close to resistance, a key area that has served as a bounce point before. Look what happened when we touched here on the weekly last time. We had a monumental surge in ETH BTC of about 90%. We have to keep that in mind. If we do get a reaction off of this node here, as you did last time, you could be seeing a massive, massive rally for Ethereum, or when Bitcoin dumps, Ethereum may not dump as hard. This is saying that there's the potential here in the next couple of months, or in the next month or so, 2 months, that ETH BTC can gap up through here and make a monumental move compared to Bitcoin, up about 37% through this high volume node, but you got to get above this high volume node right here. There's a big gap in the VRVP. Let's zoom on out here. There's a big gap in the VRVP, baby, a big gap in the VRVP to the upside for ETH BTC, and man, this is a bearish engulfing candle that is starting to form here on this comparator here, ETH BTC. You got to start playing 200 MA dominoes, which you are right now, You got above the 5, you got above the 5, you're likely to test a 7. You got above the 7, you're likely to come and test a 15. You start testing the 15-minute 200 MA on ETH BTC, and you could go on a little bit of a run. A 5 to 10% run. This could tell me that if the alts do get a little bit of a rally, ETH may receive a little bit of love this weekend. That is very true. That is very true. With that being said, you are, let's see where we're coming here on ETH BTC. From the swing high to the low, you're coming up that golden pocket, rejected off of the 618 here, off of the 618, that 618786 golden pocket that we talk about every single day with almost every single asset here on this channel. ETH BTC needs to get above this key resistance zone. You do have a massive gap here in the VRVP to the upside. Why do we have a massive gap? Because this sell-off was likely triggered by a lot of stops and liquidations, baby. Stops and liquidations. That's what I'm looking at here for ETH BTC. ETH BTC needs to turn around, and it needs to turn around now. It does not have a lot of space to go to the downside before hitting massive support. We have to acknowledge that. And even if we do here, let's pull this here. Let's pull this and see where we're sitting. So on ETH BTC, people were speculating on the cup and handle. I do remember that. People were speculating on the cup and handle, and you didn't get it. Let's pull our fib here from the swing low to swing high. I don't think you're bouncing off anything. You're below the 886. That looks bad. The likelihood of coming down here and testing a 1-to-1 retracement is relatively high. And we have to acknowledge that this has been a downtrend for 2 years, and it's paraboling. It's a parabola. It's a parabola. It's a parabola. It's a piranha. That does not look good for ETH BTC, baby. That does not look good for ETH BTC on the weekly. With that being said, anything that goes up in a parabola, if we flip this upside down, what would we be looking for long here on ETH BTC? Well, every parabola comes to an end. This will not go like this. Highly unlikely it goes like this. Unless ETH is dead. Unless what everybody's saying is right. Unless ETH is dead and it goes to zero. Unlikely in my opinion. I think this parabola breaks at some point and you see something like this. You get this kind of move on ETH BTC And that would be a 100% gainer on Ethereum. Like you would have a massive move, not on Ethereum, but ETH BTC. So one Ethereum would buy twice as much Bitcoin, if that makes sense. So yeah, you are coming up to a key area that Bryce has rejected from here before. Even this wick right here, what a massive, massive bounce you did have. I'm going to stay long on Ethereum throughout the weekend. I'm going to see how things play out. And it is a riskier play, right? If these tariffs, what everybody's scared about is these tariffs that are coming on the 2nd of April. The tariffs that are coming on the 2nd of April are massive. Look at that beautiful 618-786 retrace bounce to the upside for BTC. Not a bad bounce right there. Not a bad bounce for BTC. This could be the cup and handle that gets us out of here this weekend. We will see. This is on the 5-minute again. This is on the 5-minute, the 15 right here. Looking okay. If BTC starts to make a rounding here, we can see the altcoins start to fly. Let's see how Bitcoin dominance is looking. I bet this thing is Bitcoin dominance on a moonshot mission, even just over the past hour. Wow. On a moonshot mission. Let's look at it on the 4-hour. This has been the last 2 days since Bitcoin started its massive dump. In the last 48 hours or so, or 24 hours, Bitcoin getting the dump. With that being said, I still have to speculate here. This was yesterday. What a big move for Bitcoin dominance. Big move for Bitcoin dominance starting just this candle is a 3-hour candle. Just started 3 hours ago. You could get something like, if we did get a dump today, you could get something like this. You could get a massive moonshot candle to the upside. And that can happen on the weekends. Yes, this flag is kind of looking a little flaggy. I'm not going to lie. But I can't get over the fact that we have bearish divergence on the daily, on the weekly. The weekly bear div has me, in a state of mind where I'm like, this could be the top. This could be the top for Bitcoin dominance. And I'm not moving on that. I will not move on that. If this bearish divergence on the weekly gets defied, let me tell you what, Bitcoin dominance will moon like you've never seen it before, and the altcoins will die. I'm saying that because anytime you violate a macro bearish divergence or a bearish indicator and you get above that, we've seen what happens with, bounce token on auction, right? You violate any kind of bear div, boom, to the upside, you get massive squeeze to the upside because there's all those shorts that the asset would love to squeeze. That's what I'm seeing here. You can get a massive dump here on Bitcoin dominance. Everybody, this would be the time that it happens too. This tells me, based on Bitcoin dominance, that there's going to be one of two things that happens. Either a quantitative easing event, or there's going to be some kind of good news in the market that reverses this to the downside, allowing speculative assets. Show me the charts, I'll show you the news. The charts are saying, based off of these macro bearish indicators, the inverse cup and a handle coming up with the weekly bearish divergence, the 618786 golden pocket retrace right here. This is telling me that soon Bitcoin dominance will roll over. We violate the 786 and your altcoins, my altcoins, all of our altcoins, I don't care about the fundamentals of your altcoin. The altcoins will likely bleed. Okay, and Sin Nasty Kid, when I'm talking about your meta drip, I'm talking about the altcoins in the top 100 or 200, the ones that are paired very, very closely with Bitcoin's movements. This will likely, if this breaks to 786, you're likely to come and test these highs. You test these highs, we will be in a Bitcoin super cycle. Bitcoin dominance comes up here to that 95%, which can happen, everybody. You crank open these highs. This is not a double bottom right here to the upside. It can happen. I'm keeping that on your radar because anything in trading is a possibility, and that would catch everybody with their pants down. But right now, I'm speculating based off of this bear. I'm not even the charts are screaming inverse, cup and handle, bearish, 618786, golden pocket retrace, daily bearish divergence, weekly bearish divergence, saying that we will not crack this wick. And shooting star patterns are very powerful in the Bitcoin dominance chart. The last time we had one, boom, shooting star to the downside, shooting star to the downside, shooting star to the downside, baby, shooting star to the downside. You can get these massive wicks on Bitcoin dominance here, even on the weekly, and start rolling over. I see that as a top, baby. I see that as a top. All right, everybody, diving on in. Yeah, JJ, that's a good point, man. I appreciate you bringing that up. Listen, the tariff news there is no, everybody knows about everybody knows tariffs are going in on April 2nd, the day that Sid Nasty Kid says the altcoins are going to move to the upside. Everyone knows that. There is no secret about the tariffs. What moves markets is rumors, right? Not the news themselves. We've seen that. What happened when the strategic reserve came out? The arguably most bullish thing that could have happened for all crypto assets. We dumped. Why? Because it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event. Is that going to be what happens with the tariffs on April 2nd? It's a possibility. Yes, we know those negative things are coming to the market, but that's why the market's responding as it is today. That's why the market is struggling. That's why the market is really suffering here. Wow, on the 5-minute, Bitcoin dominance going on a moonshot, likely meaning Bitcoin's dumping. Is Bitcoin dumping? Bitcoin is dumping. Bitcoin dumping, baby. Yep, we got that reaction on the 618, 786 to 886 trying to hold us up here. The 886 doesn't hold. We could be on a nuke mission here, and that's not something that we want to see for BTC over the weekend. We'll see. But man, this is crazy. Coming down and testing the lows. This is carnage, even on the 1 minute. Look at this. Man, you got the reaction there off the 618, 786. You're testing the 886 right here. Maybe that was the fake out. I'm speculating here, everybody. This is a low volatility weekend. I can't trade any more than I'm already in right now. I got to manage my risk, and the weekend trading, I know I'm likely to lose. I'm likely to lose in either direction. Everybody starts shorting, and that's the perfect opportunity for a market maker to squeeze these shorts to the upside and catch everybody with their pants down. It is true. It is very, very true, especially after the downward movement that we've had here on Bitcoin over the past few hours. I think this set a record. How many red candles can you possibly get in a row? No. I think the record for green candles in a row in the 1 hour was 11, and we set that earlier this year. Not looking good for BTC. So where would I be looking at for downside? I got to look at downside targets. I have to. We break this low right here. Where's our next area of key support? Let's zoom on out. Where's our next area of key support? Well, you got some right here, sitting at about 83.4. This would be a good area to look at. 81.5. That's a steep drop. And it can happen. We got to reclaim this high volume node right here. And we were just above it not long ago. Right before the stream, we were just above it. We get this cup and handle and reclaim that high volume node. That would be very, very good for Bitcoin. But man, this is carnage. Everybody. We'll see. We'll see as the night develops. All right, diving on in. There's more than just tariffs coming out on April 2nd. What do you mean by that, man? What do you mean? Give me the optimism pills you took. I'm not optimism pills, man. I'm not being optimistic. I am bearish on the market right now. Why am I bearish on the market right now? Because Bitcoin's closing below the daily 200. The stock market can't get above its daily 200, and this looks bad. I'm not optimistic. What I'm looking at is here, I acknowledge that this is a low probability weekend. This is a low probability time to win any kind of trades. Why? Because it's the weekend and you don't have the market makers in here playing with price action until we get to Sunday night at about 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time when the Asian markets start waking up. And even that volume is absolute piddlesticks comparatively to the U.S. stock market. So everybody's going to be paying attention here. Let's see if this support area can hold. If people want to get into Bitcoin here, it's going to be some Chop City, everybody. It's going to be some Chop City this weekend. Just be ready for it. That's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I'm looking at. All right. I have my money in the past 12 hours for reviews. Hey, brother. Yeah. The liquidation heat map for Bitcoin. So I don't have the liquidation heat map pulled up here, but we can look. Whenever you go over to YouTube, anytime you want to look at the liquidation heat map, you can type these in up here. Liquidation heat map. And you can look at it for Bitcoin, baby. You can look at it for Bitcoin, BTC. Let's see here. You got your HD live book map, liquidation heat map, and you can click on these things here. You can click on these. Lag. What is happening? You can click on these. They'll pull up. All right, maybe YouTube doesn't like me doing that. YouTube definitely doesn't like me doing that. So you click on this here,
One thing I
you
wish
watch
I
your
knew
ad or
when I started
whatever about,
investing
you
in
know,
crypto was
investing in
how to
crypto, about
effortlessly
your
track
coin
my
ledger
portfolio.
wallet,
I
and then
searched for assistance and
this will
apps,
pop up and
that's when I
say,
discovered CoinLedger.
this will
Their
pop up and
portfolio
say,
tracking
man,
feature
this is
is
laggy
free,
so bad.
and it was
But if you want to look at the liquidation heat map, that is there on YouTube, baby. I do not pay for a bookmap subscription. I do not pay for a bookmap subscription. But the liquidation heat map, let me try and get out of here. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Lag. Ah. Massive lag. Shout out to all the gamers in the chat, baby. When you have lag like this, you're like, come on, baby, hit that X. Oh my. And we're back. Yes. YouTube just didn't like me being on YouTube. I get that, buddy. All right, yes. So you can pull up the liquidation heat map anytime you want to on YouTube, baby. It is always there. It is always for free without paying for a bookmap subscription or anything like that. All right, here we go. Diving on into the chat. Thank you, everybody, for who just jumped on into the chat, baby. I appreciate you guys. This is a good free one. Yeah, man. Yeah, it definitely is. No tax on crypto or overtime. Social Security is supposed to be starting on April 2nd. Hey, if you get some kind of news like that, that would be a no tax on crypto, no tax on American-made crypto. What is that? That you could filter out by the United States-made cryptos over here on CoinMarketCap. You click on in here and you go to the USA section, and all these bad boys, baby. You get a tax-free on any of these or all of these or some of these, and we don't know until the actual announcement comes out or laws are signed in, but you get tax-free on this. Every single one of these puppies will pump like you've never seen before in your life. Why? Because it'll be the only tax-free investment. You can't invest in stocks and realize gains without tax implications. If you could get an asset like this, especially XRP, number 4, baby, Solana, Cardano, Chainlink, some of the stronger assets that SUI, if you get tax-free in this space in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, the floodgates will open like you've never seen before. And that's regardless of what the stock market's doing. You get I think that will be the moment where we see a generational shift of money from the stock market into the crypto space if we do get those kind of announcements. Thanks for bringing that up, Sinnes Kid. That's very true. Yeah, so liquidation heat map on Bitcoin, I'll check that out a little later, man. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Caught up in the chat, everybody. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. Yes, so Bitcoin, baby. Bitcoin's got to get a bounce here pretty sooner rather than later. We're coming down and testing the lows. That's not what I'd like to see. And this is just in the last hour. This 20 minutes on this hourly candle are doing okay, holding up on the double bottom. But man, Bitcoin, baby, you got to get up here. You got to stand up. If you do not, we're looking at dumping down to these levels that it could get ugly. It definitely could. You could argue that this was a rising channel that's breaking to the downside. And this is why I'm taking a little bit of time away from the market this weekend, because I don't know. I'll be the first one to tell you guys. I don't know if we're going to dump lower than now. Yes, you can argue from an investor perspective that, hey, we got the bounce. This is the low and it's in. But I don't know. Even the volume here, despite it being a weekend, is insanely low. We're in a gap in the VRVP, baby. We're losing the high volume node. We can fall very, very hard, very, very quick, especially with it being the weekend. I'm going to be keeping track of this on X, on Twitter with you guys. I will let you know my thoughts and my ideas. Ethereum trade still open. The rest of the trades, they get not stopped out, but we closed them early. We closed them early in losses, everybody. So yes, you do have losing days as traders. It happens. It is what it is. But we are looking for a crack at this 5-minute 200 MA and to play 200 MA dominoes. You get above the 1, you're going to come to the 3. You get above the 3, you're going to come to the 5. You get above the 5, you get above the 7. You get above the 7, you go to the 15. You get above the 15, you go to the 30. You get above the hour, you go to the 2 hour. You get above the 2 hour, you go to the 3 hour. You get above the 3 hour, you go to the 4. Wow, that was about as far as I could go, everybody. That was about as far as I could go on one breath. You guys like that? Try doing that at home, preferably when your wife's sleeping. This nasty kid, just do that next to her in her ear, and she'll love it. All right, but that's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I am looking at. Yes, there could be a pump soon. It's not all doom and gloom. We play these 200 MA dominoes to the upside, and the amount. Look. The liquidations that happened today were exceeding $120 million. An insane amount of liquidations. And let's flip this upside down. Who would be longing here? Anybody in the chat would be longing right here? Flip it upside down. Would you long this? I don't think I'd long it. I couldn't long it. I'm not going to chase a pump like this without some kind of flat. You had the shoulder, head, right shoulder, dump to the downside. And now let's see if we're testing. We're not really testing any. I know we drew this earlier from the 8A6. We're on the 8A6. But from candle body closures, we're still at the 7A6. And you're getting that reversal. So could this be the reversal that gets us out of here this weekend? Yes. Yes, it could. And optimism, right? You want to talk about optimism? If we get the biggest thing that can happen right now in this space is Donald Trump pulling out his telephone and being like, Bitcoin, just tweeting Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything like that on a low liquidity weekend can send the price rocket shotting. Let's not forget that the strategic reserve was announced when? On a low liquidity weekend, baby. On a low liquidity weekend, I think this asset is still incredibly undervalued. With that being said, we're below the daily 200 MA. Let's see how these let's see how these next 2 days play out, everybody. Let's see how these next 2 days play out. We got to get a turnaround here. We want to see a bullish engulfing candle. I know that is a massive ways away right now. I understand that that's a massive ways away, but it's happened time and time again. Look at this. We had that massive dump, bullish engulfing. Massive dump, bullish engulfing. We could get you had a dump, bullish engulfing, dump, wick up, bullish engulfing. This bullish engulfing. There's been a lot of bullish engulfing candles here that have engulfed candles that were about the same size as this. It could happen here on a low volume weekend as long as we start playing 200 MA dominoes, baby. As long as we start playing 200 MA dominoes, that's what I'm going to be watching as the night unfolds here. As the night unfolds, everybody, my recommendation to you this weekend is this, and I will say this once and I'll say this right now. This weekend is not the time to earn your fortune. It is not. It is a great time to observe the market. It's a great time to observe the market. And notice how I haven't put out any longs or shorts or any trade idea. I haven't even hit this tool today. I haven't. Why? Because my uncertainty in the market based off of the charts right now is at an all-time high. It is at an all-time high. Between macroeconomic developments and where we're sitting right now in this area of low liquidity and a giant gap in the VRVP, I'll be the first to tell you, and I promise you, all the other streamers and everything out there, I watch a lot of other streamers, I do, and I hear a lot of confusion in the market, a lot of views that contradict one another, and nobody knows I'll be the first to tell you, nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody. And that is me. For me, whenever I'm thinking about that, whenever I don't know what's going to happen or I don't have a high probability setup, that is me telling myself I don't have a good trade setup or a high probability of winning right now. So I have to sit on the sidelines. I'm not going to be entering any trades. I'm not going to short after a dump like this, but I'm also not going to long when we've lost some key area. If we don't want to make a lower low. Right now we're making a higher low here. A higher low, higher high, higher low. Can we make that higher high? Yes, it could definitely happen. But man, we need to get a bounce for Bitcoin this weekend on this low volatility weekend. We need to reclaim this high volume node and get up out of here. All right, that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at. Hey, yeah, man. There's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of worrying, man. But look, don't let the market scare you. Don't let the market scare you. You have your positions. If you get stopped, you get stopped. You come back the next day and you attack it again. I can't enter any positions right now. I'm already in an Ethereum position. I can't enter any positions right now because I know I don't have a high probability of winning those trades. So I'm going to sit on the sidelines likely until Sunday night. I'm going to bring this to you guys again tomorrow night, and I'm going to be looking for setups. I'm going to be looking for things that could potentially be developing, but I will not be hitting the long or the short button until Sunday night at 7 p.m. Sunday night at 7 p.m. will be the first time that I hit the long/short button this weekend when the volume comes back into the market, because with being in the weekend right now, oh baby, oh my gosh, it has been it's wild. We're in a crazy state right now. I just can't get over it. But yeah, unless it's MetaDrip, let's say MetaDrip going to the upside, baby, going to the upside. MetaDrip making an absolutely monumental move, something you may want to keep on your radar. Yeah, MetaDrip getting that bottom, getting out of this this downward sloping resistance line looks good for MetaDrip, man. You could go on a little bit of a mooner here for MetaDrip based off of this symmetrical triangle here. Is a little shorter than that. Based off the symmetrical triangle, maybe come coming up here to crack the highs. You crack those highs, man, and it looks very, very good for at least, even if you're bearish on MetaDrip, for a 618786 retest from the swing low to the swing, or for the swing high to the swing low, all the way up here to about that 25-30 region. That, you know, two 100ths of a penny, whatever it is. Yeah. So that looks like it could definitely happen for MetaDrip getting that squeeze to the upside. Why is this asset moving to the upside when Bitcoin's dumping? Because MetaDrip has a $1 million market cap. It is very small, and a lot of institutional investors aren't in it yet because it doesn't have that amount of backing, and it's not paired to Bitcoin yet. It's not in the top 200. It's not even close. This is a likely 100 to 1000x if I've ever seen one. Not saying that it will be, but you need to have a good white paper, which this asset does have. You got that initial, you know, hopium and hype out of the way. You're coming back down to a key area of support. You're bouncing. You could crack the prior highs, and you could go on a moonshot mission. What was the last thing to do this? Deep Book Protocol. The last thing that I remember doing this was Deep Book Protocol. Deep Book Protocol was released here on Dex Screener, and it came down here. It had this massive hype up phase, and it looked a lot like MetaDrip here. You came back down, you know, a little better actually, but it came back down from once it started. Once it got released here, Deep Book Protocol came back down, and look at this. This was trading at 3 cents. 3 cents. Coming back down here, this was the number one. It wasn't, I don't know if it was a meme, but it's based off the Sui platform. Getting that rocket shot to the upside, coming back from once it came. Maybe even been a 618786 retrace. But this was on Dex Screener before this. This was on Dex Screener before this. Coming back down to 886 retrace, okay. And then this thing went on a run that was unlike any other. Let's zoom on out to the 3 hour. And you had a run for this asset that was monumental. A 731% ripper to the upside for Deep Book Protocol. Hey, reviews, you can take your chance, man. Not financial advice. There is like zero chance to turn Bitcoin dominance. Unfortunately, Alta getting destroyed like never before. Christoph. Hey, Christoph, I respectfully, brother, I appreciate you diving on into the chat, but I'm still sticking with my thesis on Bitcoin dominance. When I zoom out on Bitcoin dominance, I would never long this. I would never long this. If you think you're getting it, I'm not hating on you, man. I appreciate the comment, and I welcome any kind of disagreement with me. I really do. Inverse cup and handle 618786 bearish retrace. That's what I'm looking at for the weekly, telling me that this is a likely area for the asset to turn around. Could we get that squeeze at a 786? Absolutely, but I think it'll look a lot like this candle here, a shooting star pattern. It'll be very, very quick, maybe signaling that we may have one more dump for Bitcoin before the reversal to the upside. Once this reverses, altcoins will scream to the upside. Look at this back here. This looked like, I'll bet everybody was super bearish on altcoins at this point in time right here. Coming up and test the high. Oh, we broke the prior high. That swing failure pattern, and then you went in a 4-month bull run that no one will ever forget. Back in 2021, 43% of Bitcoin dominance taken out in just a couple of months, in 3 months, 120 days. Wild, or 4 months, 120 days. So I think that's very likely to happen again. You have bearish div on the weekly. I won't be long in anything with bearish div on the daily and the weekly out of an inverse cup and handle coming up to a 618786 bearish retrace, man. I won't. Yes, it has been on a colossal 2-year uptrend. Can that be totally wrong? Yes, but it's not something I'm interested in longing right now. I would not long this. I would not long this if it was an asset. All right, so that's what I'm looking at. Did I say 1 or 2 penny? Did you say 1 or 2 penny? Oh, you talking about on Deep Book? Yeah, this was a couple pennies, man. This is just a couple of pennies. 3 cents. Or if you're looking at Deep, what were we looking at? MetaDrip? Man, 5th grade spelling, get me, baby. MetaDrip, baby. Oh, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 pennies, man. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 pennies. I'm talking, the reason I said it like that is because if I were to go in, oh my goodness. If I were to go in here and talk about the decimals, if I were to be in here talking about, yeah, 1 or 3 pennies, no. Look, the decimals here, I'm going to say like 15, 16, 8, 1, because if I say 0.0009 or 0.001, it just sounds really confusing, right? So whenever I'm looking at something that is in multiple decimal places with zeros, right, I'm just gonna say 15, 16, just for simplicity, man. Just for simplicity. That's just me and how I like to look at charts. And when I'm speaking about them, it's way easier than me being like, MetaTrader's breaking out here at 0.00101150 and about to break out to 0.00160000. So I'm looking for that breakout about. Yeah, that's just how I like to talk about the assets. I'll say 10 and 16, or yeah, that's how I'm gonna look at it, man. That's how I'm gonna look at it. Whenever I'm phrasing my words when I'm talking about that. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Alts on platforms like Robinhood and eToro will see a pump, and of course the American alts, but other alts, though I'm bearish. Hey, JJ, I respect you, man. I totally understand what you're saying. There's a lot of reasons to be bullish on those kind of assets. And Robinhood even just put out today, I think I remember seeing it on Twitter, trying to get into a more Coinbase kind of function where they can release a lot more coins a lot quicker and expand their crypto horizon. So I think that'd be really cool. That'd be great for getting the public more into these assets, because a lot of people don't even have a Coinbase account or don't know what a Coinbase account is. Reviews, you're bullish? Hey, yeah, we could definitely be getting a bounce here. We could be getting a bounce, everybody. But to me, it's too early to call. We're still in Chop City. We got that 886 retrace back to the upside. We need to break this 5-minute 200 MA. We break the 5, we'll come to the 7. We break the 7. We break the 7, where we're likely to come to 7. We break this 5, we'll come to the 7. We break the 7. What I want is that 7 to break. Why? Because of the severity of this dump. Look where the 15-minute 200 MA is. All the way up here at about $86,000, $2,000 above where we are currently. That's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. That could be a monumental squeeze to the upside. And everybody who is short, even the institutions that are short right now can get squeezed like a pimple, baby. Squeezed like a pimple to the upside. That's what I'm looking at here for BTC. The downside risk is high. I'm choosing to stay on the sidelines here. Do your own due diligence and risk management whenever you're talking about weekend trading, as it is a bumpy ride. It's a bumpy ride, as that zombie guy that said, "Stay alive for a bumpy ride." Hey, then take it away, Ernie. Yeah, on Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban. I think that was Prisoner of Azkaban. No, it's not. Yeah, that's Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah, when he met Sirius Black. Take it away, Ernie. Take it away. All right, that's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin here. Let's see if we can get about that 5-minute 200 SMA out of this Cutman handle. 886 retrace from swing low to swing high. You got the 886 bounce to 786 holding with candle body closures. Looks good for a reversal to the upside for BTC. Keep in mind, we've had a massive dump. We've had a massive dump on Bitcoin, the strongest asset in the crypto space. If this becomes a bullish engulfing candle on the 1 hour, you can see a massive squeeze to the upside for Bitcoin and for altcoins. That's what I'm looking at going in here into the night, baby, into the night. That's what I'm looking at. I'm going to cut this off early, everybody. I'm going to dive on into the market and look for the hottest setups for you guys. Keep up to date with me on X. I'm going to be diving into a trading tutorial video for those of you who are new, for those of you who don't know what you're doing when it comes to trading. I'm going to open up my demo account, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what you need to do, from knowing absolutely nothing on trading to being able to place your very first trade. I've been getting requests on that on Twitter, so I greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys wanting that tutorial video and trusting me with that. So I'm excited to bring that to you guys. It is going to be a longer video, so I'm going to work on that this weekend and bring that to you guys. I'll probably drop it. It's either Sunday night or Monday, but I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you getting a little bit of green here on the 15-minute, baby. Getting a little green here on the 15-minute. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here tonight. Spend some time with your families this weekend. Low liquidity weekend. Try to take your brain off the market. Try to take some time and recovery. Take some time to breathe. I'm going to be doing a little bit of gaming, a little bit of Call of Duty and things like that. Get your mind off the market. Exercise. Eat healthy. Refresh. Monday's going to be a huge day next week. Next week, we got a lot of big things in the market. Not only do we have those tariffs coming in, let's dive on in real quick before we head on out of here. On the U.S. economic calendar, I want to take a look at this. I haven't looked at this, so this is a fresh view, baby, a fresh view. Let's see what's going on into this upcoming week. All right, a lot of tickles when it comes to the, yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you, JJ. I appreciate you all the way from the UK, man. I remember. I appreciate you tuning in. All right, here we go. The U.S. economics report. What's going on next week? This is my first view of this. Everybody. So. Chicago Business Barometer PMI Monday, nothing that I'm really interested in. Job openings. This is going to be huge for the economy. Are people hiring? Are people are people getting fired? This is going to be massive. And it's not necessarily talking about just federal jobs where people have been getting kicked out, but where people have been getting kicked out because of Doge, right? How many job openings are there? 7.7 million? That's just an arbitrary number. We'll see if that beats or fails expectations here. That will be a market mover. Highly, highly likely. Factory orders. That'll be a market order here at 0.6%. Yeah, look at that. Down over a whole percent from month prior. A lot of orders coming down. That does coincide with the lower spending that we have seen on the data that we did get today. Initial jobless claims coming out again at 8:30 a.m. weekly, baby. 8:30 a.m. That's going to be a market mover. The U.S. trade deficit, that's going to be very interesting. It is important to know that these are from the last quarter. So this doesn't necessarily imply or include all the tariffs that have just been put into place. So that's going to be a big one. We do employment report, unemployment rate, and hourly wages are going to be big. And baby, here it is. Here he is, our favorite man, or in crypto, our most hated man in some cases, Jerome Powell, coming out on Friday, April 4th. This will be the biggest event of next week, mark my words, for the stock market and for the crypto market. Hands down, no question. Hands down, Fed Chair Jerome Powell comes out, the most expensive voice in the world. President Donald Trump has been pushing this man for another rate cut. The chances of a rate cut on poly market are very, very skewed. So nobody knows if another rate cut's going to come. It's about 33% for none, 33% for a 25 basis point, and a 35% chance for a little more than that. We'll see. So the market's skewed, and I've never seen that before. I've only ever seen like 95% to 5% or 99 to 0 or no chance at all. So even poly market's pretty confused. So Fed Chair Jerome Powell coming out at 11:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on April 4th, baby. On April 4th. It is likely if we do see any kind of economic slowdown or inflation continues to rear its ugly head. I'm going to wait till next week to kind of speak on what I think about what Jerome Powell is likely to say. I need to see this data up here. I need to see job openings. I need to see jobless claims and the employment rate before I could speak about what Jerome Powell is likely going to say. We'll see. Jerome Powell, baby, 11:25 a.m. His voice is the most expensive voice in the world. We cannot and will not ignore that. The most volatile day of next week. Mark it on your calendar. April 4th, baby. April 4th. Shout out to each and every single one of you. Thank you for diving on in with me this weekend. I will see you guys tomorrow on the live. Until then, everybody. Anybody who wants to follow me in PMG, myself in PMG, streaming Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Right afterwards, I'll be doing my live stream at about 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central, or it's 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be streaming on Crypto Profit Brothers. The channel is up and ready to go. Drop a subscribe so you guys can see us going side by side and getting two different kind of perspectives on the market. Very excited to bring that to you guys on Sunday, baby. On Sunday, drop by and give that channel a subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow on the live. Until then, boys, crypto is out, baby. We are out. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. Enjoy your weekend.